Hello, it's Ricardo and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Frontier Developments has announced that the January update for Elite Dangerous will be rolling out on January the 14th, 2020 for all platforms. And ahead of the update, the company has released patch notes. So let's take a look at those patch notes. So it's been split up into several areas. We've got fixes around arcs, crashes, background simulations, conflict zones, exploration, material trading and mining and missions, to name but a few, and the list is quite extensive. In the comments section, I'll put a link to the document where you can read this in much more detail yourselves. But we're going to go through it, we're going to skip through it, nice and breezy, and see what we can ascertain from what's been released. So there was a beta back before the holiday season. There's going to be some audio fixes as well, fixes to stop crashes happening on the network options screen, and they're going to fix a number of typos in the missions, those sort of things. But there is an absolute load of other changes and fixes which are on their way with this January 2020 update. Now, Elite Dangerous and Frontier went through an anniversary period just before Christmas, on the lead up to Christmas, and for that week they were awarding free arcs to commanders who logged in and just logged into the game, no matter of what platform. However, arcs is going to have a little bit of a tweak in the January update. Balanced improvements for the generation of arcs, particularly for exploration related gameplay, is going to get a little bit of focus, which is good. You put this process in place, it's going to need a few tweaks as well. But that's not all. The audio experience is also going to get a little bit of focus. They've fixed audio issues with the generation ship, the Golconda. Now, you may remember and seen from my other videos, the Golconda was a generation ship that had people still on it, and they were crying out for help. There was a community goal towards the end of 2019 that led to players furnishing the Golconda with replacement parts, and then the Empire and the Federation got in place and then either built a station or they were going to build a land-based base. Well, the Federation won, and therefore a new station with the Golconda still in relative orbits to that has been put into the game. Also, it is now part of Elite Lore, and also with Elite Lore there comes a rare item, and they've got their own version of a whiskey, I think it is, or some drink. It's a rare item you can go and pick up and then trade as well and get some additional credits. So they fixed audio issues with the Golconda. Audio logs obtained from the Golconda can now be played in the codex. Good update there. They fixed a bug where none of the Guardian articles in the knowledge base would play their associated audio. So, they're fixing the bugs, especially with the codex, and a bug which meant that the audio effect when firing pulse lasers would loop indefinitely. Okay, so I've not seen any of these. These may be on some of the consoles that I don't play. My kids have got an Xbox. I got an Xbox as well. I play on PC generally, but I have got an Xbox account. My other son has got a PlayStation, but he hasn't mentioned any of these. More things around crashes and stability, which is what we're going to move on to next. Now, I think we can all safely say that this game needs a little bit of tender love and care. With all the updates that have been put into it lately and the fact that they haven't been using a beta program, Frontier have backtracked and got the community involved, what with the beta that happened before. I think that's a good thing, because they were going to get an acute focus on what was actually wrong with the game per platform. The crashes and stability fixes that they've listed here in the notes, they say they fixed a crash that could occur when attempting to enter the network options screen. Okay, not add that. Fixed a crash that would occur when mining ice rings. Not add that. Updated the way we check a player's entitlements to fix an issue where Horizon's update is not being recognised as installed. Now, that's been all over the forums, that has. They've fixed a crash as well, which could occur when an Imperial fighter is destroyed, and fixed the soft lock when entering Supercruise with the Lucent Embrace megaship targeted. Well, that's great, but what about the stuff where if you click on messaging and then go to one of the side panels and it all locks up? They've mentioned this further down in regards to a fix with the SRV, but it's not only the SRV that has that problem. On PC, I've certainly had it across, ship-based flying as well. They've done some addressing as well to the background simulation, and I'm not really going to dwell that much into that. However, suffice to say, they are doing quite some considerable work on it. For example, infrastructure failure, terrorism, public holidays, natural disasters, all those things that could potentially affect how the background simulation runs are going to get some additional tweaks, and that's a good thing. In particular, one thing I want to come down and mention, that's something that I've seen quite a bit, is around conflict zones. Now in Elite Dangerous, you want to get your pew pew on. Elite Dangerous can accommodate you with your conflict zones, and they've implemented a number of improvements which should improve stability. Well, I've not had any problems, although my son did have some on the PlayStation. Fixed a bug when entering a conflict zone, it appeared as empty. It's come to think of it, I've had that. And fixed issues caused when capital ships arrived. Well, yes, there you go. And then they fixed an issue that caused allied capital ships to open fire at friendly ships. And that's not good. But I think one of the main things that they're going to focus on is what I think is the primary core of what Elite Dangerous is. And that's Elite Dangerous exploration. Now, for an open world game, you could say open universe, open galaxy game, such as Elite Dangerous, you got to get your exploration right. And a number of fixes are going to be implemented. As it currently stands, in order for geological, biological sites to be placed on the surface, the entire stellar body must be fully generated. So that can take up to 10 seconds. That's a generation problem. As of the January update, they aim to address this with alternative processes. They've run tests of thousands of in-game planetary bodies using the data, and then they're going to use this data and indicate if the planet is likely, unlikely, or very likely to have a geological biological site. When you scan it. Fair enough. On a planetary body, but it will give commanders a much faster indication of probability. Well, all that sounds fascinating. You just want it to work though, eh? I mean, come on. I mean, the game has theoretically been dying. Elite Dangerous has been dying this past year. We've had a couple of fixes, 1 or 2 ships poked in there, a couple of community goals to keep people ticking over, but let's face it, you gotta get this stuff right. Then they say, if the commander wants to have a definitive answer without travelling to the body, they can still wait for the scan to complete in FSS. Okay, Thargoid, Guardian or human sites will show up instantaneously. Well, that's good as well. They fixed an issue that will prevent the search function in the galaxy map from working correctly. I've had that problem. Fixed an issue with the navigation panel that will incorrectly display if a planet has been mapped or not. Not had that. And instead of showing a notification for each individual asteroid belt cluster discovered, they will now condense that into one message. Good stuff. Well, that is good stuff so far, and that's exploration. They've fixed an issue where it's sometimes not possible to select an asteroid ring as well. Generally, though, they've added a help section to the main menu and pause menu. They've moved the EULA to the new help section. This is just quality of life and housekeeping stuff, really. A couple of issues which meant players couldn't search for commander names has been fixed. The data point reset timer didn't appear above the player's screen. Things like that. Things, to be fair, I mean, you know, any old update can fix this, but it's good they've brought attention to it. Let's talk about mining. Mining's going to be very important, I think. Now, mining has been a fantastic source of income, and players have been racking up billions and billions of Elite Dangerous credits in lieu of what's going to happen, whether that's going to be the fleet carriers and fleet ships that are going to be coming this year, as promised, or whatever else. And people are getting billions of these things, and it's all down to mining. So mining's having a little bit of a focus. They fixed an issue that could lead to the detonation graph not appearing if deep core mining with a wing. They fixed a disconnection that could occur whilst mining, and they fixed a deep core mining issue in multi-crew. Who uses multi-crew? I don't. Where different crew members would see different detonation levels in the hub. They fixed the subsurface displacement missiles in multi-crew, again, and fixed for a bug which made seismic charges instantly detonate in multi-crew wings. However, it doesn't stop there. And at the end, right at the end of all of this, they state, when trading high-end minerals, this is why it comes into mining, you see, they fixed the issue that meant players could sell anything to a market if the buy list was empty. Great, fantastic, that's all about trading. But they've added supply and demand volumes for certain high-end minerals. Now, trading goods such as void opals in Elite Dangerous is more realistic. Markets can still offer high prices, but they will offer less as the demand is met. As part of this change, these high-end materials and minerals will now be demanded by more specific economy types, and this will change affect the following commodities. So, alexandrite, benite, granderite, low-temperature diamonds, monzonite, musgravite, panite, rhodplumsite, and serendipite, and good old void opals. For all you void opal miners, you've basically had it. We've got effectively, 4 days to get in there and get mining. And mining bloody quick, I can tell you now. Because if you want that large carrier, that's going to cost you a pretty penny. And a pretty penny, more likely, it's going to be near $1 billion. But whatever. Let's move on. What have they done? They've done some fixes around the new player experience. Great. They've done fixes around networking. Great. The player journal and power play. Now, power play, you're either a power player or you're not a power player. I've done some power playing earlier on in the game. Had all the prismatic shields and what have you. Fantastic. Don't tend to bother with it now, but depending on what's going on, it is an aspect of the game that the new commander may want to have a good look at. So if you are, then power play has got some fixed issues, and they've done some more calculations around control systems income. And that was all down to the sum of their exploit systems that had their own value readdressed. Rendering, they've looked at rendering. Ships, they've done some tweaking around the Dolphin. They've added a fix for collector limpets, where they were damaging ships. Now, the SRV has had to fix the control input being lost after interacting with an inbox message. I've had that on ships, but hey, there you go. And also, they've implemented some speculative fixes that should reduce the instances splitting when fighting Thargoid interceptors. They've updated the Thargoid combat state to ensure that it's correctly replicated over the network, and fixed an issue that caused combat bonds not to be correctly given out when destroying Thargoids. And then an issue with Thargoid hearts becoming immune to damage when in a wing. Well, there you have it, everybody. That's the patch notes for the Elite Dangerous January 2020 update. If you've stuck with me, hey, it's been a long old 12 minutes. I've been Commander Ricardo. Check out the back catalogue on the channel. There's some definitely good videos in there as well. Playing other games as well, not only Elite Dangerous. See how it goes. Let me know what you think about the updates in the comments. If you're still with me, hit that like and subscribe button, and also that notification icon. And that'll let you know when I'm putting more videos such as this one on YouTube. Fly safe, and let's look out for that January update. Time to get mining, eh chaps?